Hey everybody, Stacy here with Pitch Deck Fire, and I'm so glad you guys have joined us for another one of our pitch hacks of the week this week. If you haven't been with us before, we cover tips and tricks on pitching, pitch decks, sales decks, investor decks, and live presentations. So if you're a startup company looking for funding or an established company looking for new customers, maybe you're even in an accelerator or an incubator program, all of you guys can find value in our pitch hacks here. So let's hop right into it. What's our pitch hack of the week this week? All right, this week we have pitching your startup at a Startup Week event locally. How do you do it? If you haven't been to your local Startup Week yet, you should. Every single year, many large cities in the US and across the world host a Startup Week. Sometimes it's related to this one company that puts on startup weeks, and sometimes they're independently owned. But regardless, they are great opportunities to get together and meet other people in the startup space, to connect, to learn, to make relationships, to maybe meet investors, to go to these really interesting events and get more information. One of the things you might see that most startup weeks have is a pitch event. They're very common at startup weeks. Sometimes they even have, the semifinals leading up to the finals during that week. So if you're going to a startup week, you should see whether that startup week has a pitch event. If you're looking for a new buzz for your company, maybe new customers, maybe you're going to be pitching for investment soon and you want to get some feedback, and maybe even have some investors in the audience find out about you at the pitch event, you would want to apply to pitch at the pitch competition. It can be a really great way to do all of that. So if you've been selected to pitch at a pitch competition during Startup Week, you should pay attention to a couple things when you think about how to pitch at that pitch competition. So first of all, make sure you know whether those semifinal rounds are going to happen during Startup Week. If you are participating in one that has semifinal rounds, you need to know when you need to go present for your semifinal round, and make sure that you show up and are prepared and are successful during that pitch in order to get yourself to the final round to be pitching in front of the large crowd, the large audience at the end. So pay attention to that and be prepared for it. If you're pitching at a pitch competition, really any pitch competition, but a Startup Week is especially so because it tends to be a larger pitch competition, a larger audience than you have at most other competitions, pay attention to who the audience is and what they might get out of it. There's a lot of people in this audience, probably a higher likelihood at a Startup Week that there's going to be potential investors in the audience than at maybe other pitch competitions, or at least a higher amount of them because there's more people in total at the event. So keep in mind what you want to get out of that event and who you want to really be pitching to and impressing and sharing your story with. If you're hoping that some of these audience members might be a customer, keep that in mind. Make sure you infuse that kind of information and that kind of excitement, maybe even a call to action at the end that fits for potential customers. When you do any pitch competition, you want to make sure you pay attention to the rules of the competition and what the judges are actually looking for. At a Startup Week pitch competition, it's very likely you're going to be pitching in front of judges or a panel of judges, and they're going to be choosing a winner of that competition. That's kind of the whole point. It's this fun thing at the end of Startup Week where the audience gets to come and listen to some interesting new companies pitch, and then somebody's chosen as the winner. Like any other pitch competition, you may or may not get, a cash prize. It might just be bragging rights, but you want to keep in mind what they're actually looking for and who the judges are and what they care about when you're preparing to pitch. All of these things affect what kind of information you convey and how you convey it in your pitch. So as much as you can, figure out who the judges are going to be, and make sure you're pitching the information in such a way that really emphasizes how your company is the best fit for what they're looking for with this pitch competition. So for example, if they were looking for companies in a particular space or women-owned companies, whatever it is, that can be something to pay attention to as you're putting together your pitch and how you talk about your company. So in conclusion, I really think it's a fantastic opportunity to pitch at your local Startup Week pitch event. That would be really a great way for you to get in front of a lot of eyeballs and a lot of potentially interesting eyeballs, depending on what stage you are in your company, whether you're looking for customers or whether you're looking for buzz, whether you're looking for team members, mentors, investors. All of these people will be there at a pitch event, especially during Startup Week, which is a really big event for the industry, and with a lot of people there that would be interested in what you're doing. So hopefully that answers your question for how to pitch effectively at Startup Week, at your local Startup Week. I definitely think you should go to Startup Weeks. I think they're really awesome opportunities to meet a ton of people. And if you have an opportunity to pitch during Startup Week pitch events, that's awesome. It's super fantastic opportunity to get in front of a ton of people and some potentially important connections that you might make for the future of your business. If you have any thoughts on Startup Week or pitching during a pitch competition at Startup Week, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And if you have any ideas for an upcoming pitch hack, there's a link down below to give us your suggestions for an upcoming video. I'd love to answer your suggestions in the future. We put out new pitch hacks every single week, so give us a little thumbs up or subscribe to find out more about the next time we put out our next pitch hack video. Again, I'm Stacy with Pitch Deck Fire, and I hope to see you guys here again soon. Happy pitching!